Welcome to this video, Crimson Cliffs. My name is John Madsen. I am here to share with you exclusively this meal plan that I created for you guys. And so if you're a parent and you're watching this video, it's imperative, obviously, for your athlete to watch this video. Now, if you're an athlete watching this video, it's pretty imperative, unless you buy your own food, for your parents to sit down and watch this video for you, with you. Okay, and the one thing I'm going to tell you right off the bat is if you haven't watched the presentation that I did first, or if you weren't there live, I put that into a post inside the private Facebook group. Go ahead and watch that. I talk about recruiting. I talk about some things that are very, very important pertaining to launching this meal plan for you. And I can't emphasize enough the value of learning how to eat while you're in high school. This meal plan is going to help you stack muscle. It's going to help you be the leanest possible as far as body composition is concerned that we can do easily. And I built it with a high school athlete in mind so that it's not complicated. And I'm going to go through all of it. And if you have any questions, we're going to do some live Facebook Lives where I'm actually going to sit in front of my computer and you can ask me questions. Or if you have a question immediately, you can get a hold of me. Just tag me in the Facebook group. But single-handedly, I've put, as I told you guys before, I've put over 100 athletes who have earned college scholarships while working with high school athletes over the past couple years. And the reason that I'll tell you the reason, but there's a myth out there, and there's something that parents believe and a lot of kids believe, that there's some magical formula or magical thing that they're missing that they just don't know, or there's help out there to help get their athlete recruited. And I'm here to tell you that that's kind of true. And here's the deal. In order to get recruited, you have to be recruitable. And I know that sounds, I know that sounds obvious, but sometimes it's not. If I go here back into my last presentation, we're going to start with this in a second. But when we talk about football, telling the truth, Division I athletes, here is the average heights, weights, 40-yard dashes, benches, and squats, that if you play these positions, these are your numbers. These are the average numbers. If you're a wide receiver, 6'2", 185. If you're offensive line, 6'4", 280. If you're a linebacker, 6'2", 220. So if you're sitting there and you're playing linebacker and let's just say that you have adequate height at 6 feet, but you weigh 160 pounds, no matter what you do as a parent, no matter what you do as an athlete, doesn't matter if you're fast, it does not matter. If you don't get your weight up and if you don't stack muscle on your frame, nobody's going to pay attention to you. Part of my success, a whole big part of my success, I was discussing this on a podcast the other day. The reason my athletes got recruited is because when they went to those camps, those recruiting camps, they looked better and they performed better than all the kids around them. There's no secret there. These coaches are going around the country looking for athletes who have these intangibles. Now, why is that important when it comes to nutrition? Well, because if speed is the most important thing and size is the most important thing and speed is the next most important thing, those are two things directly related to the nutrition presentation that I'm going over right now. Because in order to be recruitable, if you have to put on size, you don't want to put on fat, you have to put on muscle, or you're doing yourself no favor, because even if you put on the size, you're going to slow yourself down. Now, if you want to put size on, that's going to help you become more explosive and faster, you're going to have to do it the right way through food. So if we look at this pyramid, this is the training, this is my whole philosophy as far as training is concerned and speed development. And the reason I call it the speed development pyramid is because 9 times out of 10, parents and athletes who call my phone, they want to know how to get faster. So they think that there's some sprinting drills or some speed work or some thing they saw on the internet that's going to help their kids get faster, when in reality, body composition is the most important thing. Body composition, meaning how much muscle compared to how much fat is on their body. We need to be as lean as possible. If we go back to that linebacker model, 6'2", 220, here's an example. If you have two athletes that are 6'2" and 220 pounds, but one athlete is 20% body fat and the other athlete is 10% body fat, height and weight is the same, the athlete with the less body fat is going to be faster 100% of the time. So it's not just about putting size on, it's about putting muscle on. There's only one way to do that. That's through training a little bit and massively about the way you feed your body. So if you're an athlete and you're listening to this and you care about being the best athlete you can be, you care about running faster, jumping higher, you care about being your best for your team, and then ultimately you want to play at the next level, there is nothing more important than what I'm going to show you. There is nothing more important than actually putting the work in when it comes to food, because you can do all the workouts. You could do all the workouts this year, give all of your effort, and if you don't eat enough or if you're not eating the right types of food, literally you're robbing yourself of 50% of the results. If you're an athlete that's going to do everything I say and you're going to take this advice, and your buddy who isn't going to take my advice, you are going to close the gap and you are going to 10x results really, really quickly. Your bodies at 14, 15, 16, 17 years old are ready to stack muscle on, but you have to give it the right fuel. Body composition right down here is the most important thing when we talk about speed. Sometimes it's not so obvious. Sometimes parents come into my office, they have an athlete who's way overweight, who has way too much fat on their body, and they tell me their athlete is slow. No amount of speed work is going to help that athlete get faster until that athlete gets leaner. Now, most of the football players I work with, ironically, have the opposite problem. They need to stack muscle and get faster at the same time. So that's what this meal plan is going to be about. I do have another version of the meal plan, and we'll talk about that so I don't confuse you. We're going to jump right into this meal plan. So, with all that being said, I needed you to understand how important this part of it is. As a collective whole football team, if you're sitting here as a freshman or a sophomore and you have 3-4 years, if you do this stuff for 3 and 4 years and you get your teammates to buy in 3 and 4 years, you will have a super team, because teams aren't talking about this stuff. They're not giving you the materials because their coaches actually, they don't have my background in nutrition and in training for performance. So I'm telling you, I'm giving you something of great value here. I want you to use it. So this meal plan is going to be color coded. It's going to tell you when to eat, how much to eat, everything. Okay. So when we talk about food, the most important thing, I'm not going to make this a science class, but I need you to understand there's proteins, there's fats, and there's carbohydrates, which if you've ever heard the term macronutrients, that's what people are referring to. Proteins, fats, carbohydrates. Protein is the building blocks of of lean muscle tissue. Okay, the building blocks of muscle. Protein gets broken down into amino acids, which then get shuttled throughout your body to, if you're getting enough of it, to ensure that you are stacking on muscle tissue, which is important, like we just discussed. Fats and carbohydrates are your body's energy source. So the leaner an athlete is, the more carbohydrate they can tolerate. The less lean an athlete is, the more body fat they have on their body, the less tolerant usually they are to a carbohydrate. But we're talking about athletes here. Carbohydrate is going to be the primary source of fuel for a power athlete like a football player. You're going to need fuel in your body so you can use it right away to sprint, to jump, to play a long, grueling game, to go through practice, to recover. You're going to need energy. So your body's going to pull energy from both fats and carbohydrates. That's literally all you need to know. Okay, as far as this is concerned, that's all you need to know. Then we have this column over here, vegetables. Vegetables is going to be important, not really considered a macronutrient, but you're going to get a ton of, they have macronutrients in them, however, just small amounts. But what you're going to get large amounts with vegetables is micronutrients, phytonutrients, disease fighting compounds, like a whole bunch, antioxidants, vitamins, minerals. That's why vegetables are important. So we don't want to dismiss the fact that over here is very, very important. So I'm going to tell you when to eat them as well. And then, so as you can see, we have this column of approved list of foods, which is under the red column. These are all protein sources. Then we have the approved list of fats. Then we have a approved list of carbohydrates, and then vegetables. Any vegetable is approved. We want to switch it up and eat a variety of veggies, okay? Now, the most confusing part about this whole thing is this little gray box, okay? This little gray box is considered fatty protein. You can see it's under the protein column. However, it's kind of, if I could have designed it a little better, it would be in the half protein, half fat column, because with this protein, you're going to get a lot of fat with it. Okay, over here is really lean proteins. You're going to get very little fat if you choose proteins off this list. That's going to be important in a second. Now, I've laid out a timeline for you to eat the foods and a little pie chart to tell you exactly how much you should eat. So, as you can see, breakfast before you get to school, you get 1.5 servings of protein, you get 1 serving of fat, you get 1 serving of carbohydrate, and you get 1 serving of vegetable. Okay, super important. So the only math you have to do right here is times this column by whatever you choose. These are all 1 serving that are listed. So if protein is 1.5, you have to multiply whatever you choose by 1.5. So for example, if you chose 6 ounces of chicken breast, you would multiply that by 1.5, you would get 9 ounces of chicken breast is your portion. That is super important because, again, if someone doesn't understand nutrition, they're going to ask me what they should eat. I know they don't understand nutrition if they ask me that question, because it's not just what you eat, it's how much of what you eat. So you have to understand what 9 ounces is compared to 6 ounces. I have up here portion sizes that you don't have to measure. So a protein would be the palm of your hand. However, that's going to be subjective. I would much rather buy a scale, and not that you have to be crazy measuring your food, but for the first week, I tell all my athletes, buy a food scale. They're $19 on Amazon. Put your plate on it and really see what a 9 ounces would be, because a lot of times you're going to be eating 12, you think it's 9, or you're going to be eating 4 and you think it's 9. That's big difference, guys. You have to get the right amount of protein in. So we want 9 ounces, whatever. I've already calculated it out. So whatever's here, you're multiplying it by 1.5. Everything else is 1. So if you choose anything else on the list, you're just getting 1 of whatever. You can choose whatever you want. You can have endless combinations as long as you're matching the colors. The most confusing part of this is if you choose something in this fatty protein, you are going to subtract 1 serving of fat. So if you choose something here for your protein, you'll multiply it by 1.5, and that's going to take care of both the red and the yellow because you chose something in the gray. If you choose something over here, you still get to choose something over here in the yellow. If you choose something in the gray, you're knocking out red and yellow all in one food choice. That's the most confusing part, guys. So let me show you an example. You could do 6 egg whites. And then you would multiply it by 1.5, so that would be 9 egg whites. So you knock out this red portion, and then you would get to go over here and choose a portion of fat. Or if you chose 4 full eggs, you would multiply that by 1.5, so you would get 6 full eggs, and bam, you knock out red and yellow because you chose full eggs instead of egg whites. Okay, so that's really important. That's probably the most complicated thing on this list. Now we have snack number 1. Because we need to ensure you are getting enough protein throughout the day, we want you to get 8 to 12 ounces of water with anywhere from 1 to 2 scoops of whey protein. I'm not a huge supplement fan. I like whey protein, especially for high school athletes, because a lot of times they're not getting enough protein. If you can get enough protein with food, then you don't need to supplement with whey protein. A lot of times though, they're going to school, their breakfast is at 6 o'clock, they don't eat again until lunch at noon. They need to make sure that they're getting enough protein in. Okay, this timeline we're going to talk about in a second, but I don't want to get sidetracked. I want to go over this little timeline first. 8 to 12 ounces of water with 2 scoops whey protein. You have a shaker bottle, you shake it up. On your way to class, you down it. And if it's possible, you have 1 piece of fruit. Okay, awesome. If an athlete is out there, man, I can't gain weight, nothing I can do, like I never gain weight, you could substitute water for whole milk if you have a place to store it and it won't, you don't want hot milk. So I put this together with high school athlete in mind. They're going to be in school. Water sometimes is the easiest option there. Okay. Lunch. You notice lunch is the same thing, so we don't need to go over it again. Obviously, you're going to make different choices for lunch. So you just fill in the same little pie chart. Snack number 2, 8 to 12 ounces of water, 2 scoops whey protein, 1 piece of fruit. Bam. Again, it has this little note. And then dinner, it's the same thing. So we're getting protein, carbs, and fats at each meal. And we have this snack number 3, which is going to be, this is going to be reserved for people who need to put weight on. If you do not need to put weight on, or if you could stand to lose a little fat, then you will not have this snack number 3. If you're an athlete that needs to put weight on and you need to put weight on fast, snack number 3 is mandatory. You get leftover dinner, or you get 1 peanut butter and jelly sandwich plus 1 banana plus 8 ounces of whole milk or chocolate milk. Okay, if you need to put weight on, then this is mandatory. If you don't need to put weight on, do not eat this snack number 3. Okay, then that would be too much food. Here's the deal, timeline-wise. This is what usually happens. Athlete runs out of the house, maybe has cereal for breakfast. So they're getting maybe some protein with a little amount of milk and then some processed carbohydrates. Doesn't eat again till lunch. Usually grab something at the cafeteria. Maybe if you have an open campus, you go grab a burger or something. So you get, again, a more carb heavy lunch, very little protein. And then here's the problem, guys. Usually then you go to practice after school. So you've eaten very little at breakfast, something crappy at lunch. Then you're going to practice with hardly any fuel in your body, but you're a kid, so you do it anyways. You practice from 3 to 5:30. You have meetings. You get home at 8. You have a big meal, whatever mom or dad cooks. And then you think that you've eaten a lot because you've had one big meal at dinner and you pound food. And then you tell me you can't gain weight. And you tell me that you can't gain weight no matter what you do because you've tried to eat a lot and it doesn't work. And in reality, you're doing all this weight training, you're doing all this sport stuff, and you're getting literally less than 100 grams of protein a day. You have zero chance to stack muscle on. Zero. The only reason you would stack any muscle on is because you're resilient and you're 16 years old. But I'm telling you, you're burning the candle at both ends and you're not giving your body what it needs. The reason my athletes got recruited is because I hammered them on this stuff. Literally, my athletes would get asked if they were on steroids all the time. It was a problem. People would come into my gym and think that we were doing steroids because the power of food for a 16-year-old kid is ridiculous. Nobody did steroids at my gym. We stacked incredible muscle because I paid attention to things that no other coach was paying attention to. This stuff right here will change everything if you're an athlete. Literally will change everything. So that's a crappy timeline. Let me tell you what my athletes do. For breakfast, they would eat breakfast maybe 6:30 a.m. If their lunch is at 11, we're going to half the time from there to there. They're going to have this snack at like 9 a.m. Then they're going to have lunch. Then they're going to have snack number 2 right before practice or right when school ends. They're going to go to practice and they're going to come home, have this dinner, and then right before they go to bed, they're going to have that snack. What if you do that for 8 weeks, 12 weeks straight? I've had athletes gain 25 pounds stacking muscle. It's incredible. It almost doesn't make sense because science is like, you can't put that much muscle on. Sometimes, obviously, you don't just put muscle on, you add a little fat, but there's a ton of you. I was in this boat. I was so scrawny and so skinny. I needed that size. So if you're in that boat, you're going to have an incredible, incredible ride if you do what I say. Supplementation, don't worry about any of this stuff, okay? Because I don't want you getting the wrong impression. I don't want you buying stuff from GNC. Like literally, if you have supplement questions, just hit me up privately and I'll answer them. Basically, the only supplementation I ever really recommend for an athlete under the age of 18 is whey protein. Because someone's going to ask me about creatine, I'll tell you that that's going to be up to the parent, up to the athlete. If it was my own son, I would not let him put creatine in his body until he was 18 years old. It doesn't really matter. If you're getting all this protein and you're training the way I tell you, like that's going to be so minute, it doesn't even matter. Okay, so we'll just tackle that right there. At the bottom of this meal plan, you can see some samples. Like I made this for like what would be easy for a high school athlete. Well, you wake up, you have 6 full eggs, you have 2/3 cup of rolled oats, and you have a half cup of diced peppers. Bam, that knocks out that circle. For sample lunch, you have 9 ounces of lean turkey breast, you get 3 slices of whole wheat bread, you have a 1/4 cup of almonds, and you have veggies on a sandwich. Bam, that takes that out. Sample dinner, 9-ounce ribeye steak, 1.5 cup sweet potato, 1 cup of asparagus. Bam, knocks that circle out. Because this is a high school guide, and I know people are going to eat out, I wanted to put this in here. Okay, so I want you to think of this as like blue is your best options. You can have that whenever you want. Yellow is if you do it, just make sure you don't do this stuff more than 2 times a week. Know that it's kind of fringe and it's not ideal, but you're a kid. Red, stay away from as much as you can. Again, like I'm going to show you some stuff here. I don't expect you to stay away from it forever. I'm just telling you, like as long as you can minimize it, and I'll tell you the reasons, like ranch dressing and ketchup and fry sauce, all that stuff on there is just mindless calories, which is not terrible for some of you who are super skinny like I was. However, I have these flashbacks of high school where people would get a piece of pizza and then drown it in ranch dressing, or they get fries and have 10 fry sauces with it. Like that's just not how an athlete should do it. So that's why I put it here in the red, okay? And then can have as much as you want, like green light, mustard, vinegar, hot sauce, salsa, salt, pepper, some fruit, like that stuff is gonna be fine. But let's start over here, best options. I have Chipotle. I don't know if you have these things down there. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. This was built for my athletes in Salt Lake, but Chipotle, Teriyaki Grill, Barbacoa, Rumby, Cafe Rio, Subway, Chick-fil-A. So obviously you have some of them, but you're gonna see some similarities here. Notice what I put what you should order. Chicken steak burrito bowl, no sour cream. Anytime you get these options, always ask for extra protein because they're usually going to give you like 4 ounces, so make sure you get double the amount of protein. Teriyaki Grill, chicken steak bowl, white or brown rice. So that's like a rumby. If there's a rumby down there, I have that on here too. Chicken and steak bowl, white or brown rice, doesn't matter. Barbacoa, chicken or steak burrito bowl, no sour cream. Cafe Rio, chicken or steak tostada, corn tortilla, no sour cream, no guac, just because they load it on, and I don't want you filled up with stuff that is super, super high calorie. Chick-fil-A, grilled chicken sandwiches, you can actually have 2 of them if you want. They have grilled nuggets you can have as well. And then they have, for breakfast, an egg white grill, which is okay too. Turkey breast, Subway, turkey breast sandwich, always ask for double meat, as many veggies as possible. And then condiments, pepper, vinegar, and mustard. McDonald's, you see the chicken sandwiches. Don't get fried. Don't get if you get chicken, make sure it's grilled. You can have a small fry. That'll count for your carbs. Is it the best? No, but will it work? Yes. Wendy's grilled chicken sandwich. They have baked potato options, small fry. You can get any of that stuff. In-N-Out burger, double burger, small fry. So that stuff's not going to kill you. Like it's fast food. I don't recommend it a ton, but if I know you're kids, you're going to have fun. I don't expect you to be perfect, but here's the rule. Whatever you do, it must have protein with each meal. So don't ever go to Wendy's and order a baked potato and fry and that's all you eat, or just a piece of pizza and ranch dressing. Like you're getting no protein with that, and you're just literally doing your body a disfavor. Okay. So rule number 1, you must have protein with each meal. Very self-explanatory there. Let me scroll up. So here's a section for you to insert your meal plan you made. So I always tell my athletes, look, make it easy on your parents. Parents, like this is why I like you guys to be on the same page. The easiest thing to do is decide what your athlete is going to have for breakfast as far as the protein's concerned off the list, carbohydrate, vegetable, and fat. Do the same thing for lunch and then do the same thing for dinner. You write it down, then you can go to the store and get a week's worth. And then you have the same breakfast for 7 days, the same lunch for 7 days, the same dinner for 7 days. Then you're sick of it. Then you switch it up next week. You can do something different every single breakfast, but then you're going to the grocery store and you're buying a ton of different stuff and it's just harder to prepare for. If you're like, dude, John, this sounds crazy, I can't do that. Here's my deal, guys. Some people just want it worse than you do. Some people just, the athletes that I trained that came to my gym 4 times a week that wanted to get recruited, they don't care. They would do whatever I said if they were going to continue to get the results. So, eating something different every single day of the week because it tastes good to them, like wasn't even in the hemisphere of thinking. They were on a mission to get better. So when I'm making this meal plan, I'm speaking to maybe the 20% of you who really, really care. I hope it's 100% of you. The ones that care are the ones that are like, dude, I'm ready. I'm going to do this. I'm going to make it easy on my parents. I'm going to, we're going to go grocery shopping. I know what I'm going to eat. I'm going to be prepared. And they go and do it. Those are the guys who win. Those are the guys and girls who win. What to drink. Whatever your body weight is right now, if you're 200 pounds, you times it by 0.5, you would have to have 100 ounces of water. Okay, if you're 150 pounds, that would be 75 ounces of water. So you divide your body weight by 2. That's how much water you need to drink, especially during football season. For athletes that need to gain extra weight, they can drink whole milk, chocolate milk, fruit juice, Gatorade, Powerade, taking in those extra calories. I don't really care. They're loaded with sugar. So is it ideal? No, but here's the deal. If you're an athlete that can't gain weight, drinking liquid calories is going to be a really easy trick to help you put on weight, because it's easier to drink stuff than it is to slam so much food. Like if you start doing this, I promise you, parents are going to watch your kids. They're going to be like, Mom, I am full. I cannot have another bite. This is more food. They're going to be so full. So having more food is problematic. That's why for athletes that need extra weight and need it bad, we can add some of these stuff. So with your meals, you can have this. During competition in the gym or at practice, you can have Gatorade or Powerade. Again, it has sugar in it. Some people are deathly afraid of sugar. That's okay. Like if you are sweating and you are running around, like your body's literally using it and taking it as fuel, you're fine. Understand this, guys. Great athletes understand the importance of great nutrition. If you can get behind this and if you want to get better, this right here is, again, one of the most important things that I can give you. So this is a template. Okay, this is a template. Obviously, I coach people one-on-one, and when you dive in one-on-one, you can really customize stuff and make sure the amounts and stuff are exact. This right here, though, because most athletes are starting from a really, really poor point, everybody is going to get ridiculous results as long as they understand where they're starting from. You have to know, like, if you should be having this snack or not. If you're an athlete that needs a ton of weight, this snack is imperative. If you're an athlete that's like, you don't need any more weight, you are carrying too much fat, like you definitely cannot have this snack. So there's little things we can do to tweak it. If you have questions, just hit me up in the Facebook group. Just tag me in the group and I'll answer the questions, but I'm going to do some lives. So how do you get this meal plan? How can you download it on your phone? Right underneath this video, I am going to give you links to download this meal plan so that you can hit it, you can print it out. Parents, you can take it. Athletes, you can take it. I'm giving this to you. Okay, this is something that I know is of immense value if only if you use it. So video, watch the whole video. Parents, download it on your phone so you have it. Athletes, download it on your phone so you have it. And then we'll take care of any questions and we'll get you 100% ready to go. I know there's going to be a couple questions, which I'm excited for, because if you have questions, that means you're taking it serious. So that's all I got for you tonight. We will talk to you guys soon.